Hello and welcome to Multiform. Every week we get together to talk about the latest Xbox news, rumors, and the games we've been playing lately. New episodes post every Monday morning. You can email the show, questions at multiformpodcast.com, or you can follow us on Twitter, X, or Facebook at multiformpod. That will never stop.
Subscribe to X Premium and get our X's right into you.
I went on a tirade on the phone with my brother last night about how I am actually willing to pay for premium services if they bring value and are good. But at this point, I will not pay for X Premium, even if it was like the perfect service, because it just feels like such a dumpster fire. Like I am not giving them a cent. Anyway, I'm never going to call it X. Like 10 years from now, I'm probably still going to be saying, I'm going to tweet that. Like when somebody says repost, I'm like, what? Oh, you meant retweet. Okay. I understand now. Anyway.
It's not repost, Tim. It's re-X.
Well, that's the funny thing.
It's Rex.
They said they were going to call it Xing, but then they called it post on all their app and website and everything. Anyway, this is episode 262. I'm Tim Shelton, your host, and I'm joined by my friends Gus Harden.
Hello.
And he returns from the wilderness of Colorado, Spencer Rain.
Yo, I am here. How's it going? What's up?
He's a silhouette right now, which is usually my role.
Yeah, Gus's new apartment is actually a better, like, you don't look like you're being interrogated by Al Qaeda. But Spencer, on the other hand, looks like he's about to shoot a video for Fox News as a liberal, and he doesn't want his identity to be known.
It's like those, I want to say they were from 2014.
It looks like To Catch a Predator, like where the identity of the person that's narking is like blacked out.
Of the Thanos video.
What?
I don't know why.
What Thanos video?
There was like a Thanos video where it's very obviously Thanos, but he's like a silhouette. He's like I didn't
seen that one.
Want to snap.
No, look, he looks exactly like he's going to appear on the news, and they're going to warble his voice, and he's going to be like, "I knew that sex blah blah."
Yeah, because he was an actual drug dealer.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to give up his
former Al Qaeda member. Yeah.
What's funny is if you turn your head to the right, Spencer, the light catches your cheek and you light up for a second, and then it goes away. Yeah, see, he's doing it right now.
Well, usually what I do is I have my monitor here. I have Wikipedia up or something, so it's a bright white screen. But I have Crusader Kings up right now, so there's no real light coming off of it.
Man, you guys are such nerds. Really on point. While we're recording, Spencer's playing Crusader Kings, and Gus was just playing Hearts of Iron in the background. Map games. I swear, we are 100% the only Xbox podcast that you hear about Hearts of Iron.
We're a couple of history nerds. What do you want from us?
I'm just asserting one of my vassals' claims on the Kingdom of Sicily right now. All right. And they'll be part of my empire, the Neo-Roman Empire.
I respect it. You're the World of Warcraft of console gamers.
My girlfriend is always salty because we'll go to half price books and she can never find a book that she wants. But for whatever reason, the one that's close to our apartment, I've both times that we've gone, I've found a book that I've been looking for.
I just imagine you walking in
and naval history books.
Oh, I just imagine you walking in and finding a book about walking canes in World War II.
Walking canes.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh, I'm curious about that. I'll just buy that. How much is this book? $74.99. Ooh, it was such a bargain.
Half price books, baby.
No,
$17.99.
There could be nothing there that's more than $20.
Hang on. Fun tangent. So stores that name themselves after a dollar value. So you have Family Dollar, you have the Dollar Store, and you have Five Below. But rampant inflation, how many years until your store that carries $5 and below items is actually Five Below, but it carries $20 and under items? It seems suspect to name the Dollar Store used to be everything in the store was $1, but that was a long time ago. So either the quality of the products went down or the price of the products went up, because you ain't still at $1 after 40 years. For the same stuff.
Well, and the thing is, if you go to a Dollar General, Tim, which doesn't sound like you've been to one for a while.
Well, Dollar General is different than the Dollar Store.
Well,
the Dollar Store is...
There are things that are just more than $1.
At Family Dollar, I know there is, because that's more of like a grocery store.
Yes,
the Dollar Store...
The dollar's value does not go nearly as far as it used to.
Oh, I was pretty close. The Dollar Store was 1986, so it is close to 40. It's coming up on 40 years. Oh no, that's Dollar Tree. Crap, I was looking for the dollar store. I thought that was a different store. Well, there's Dollar Tree, the dollar store, Dollar General, and then Five Below. Anyway, with inflation, pretty soon their store is going to be 20 below, which sounds like 20 below zero instead of $5 and below, but whatever. Anyway. Okay, introductions are done.
Tangent.
Yeah, that was quite the tangent. I know. Get it out of the way here. We'll have even more nonsense at the end. The what we've been playing section this week, I think we'll try and keep kind of brief because it's a little bit of the usual suspects, and Spencer's been on the road for a week, so he probably hasn't played very much.
I'm not even going to bother talking about what I played because you already know.
Yeah, well, yeah, you've been on a tirade. So for me and Gus, you can almost copy paste last week, but also we've got a lot of news because of Gamescom and stuff, so there'll be plenty to talk about this week. I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I have one part of the map left, so I'm in the final run of the game, and I have 4 days until Starfield Early Access comes out. So I expect I might be able to finish the main story in the next 4 days, but I probably won't finish the DLC because I'm probably not even going to start it because I'm going to go jump straight into Starfield, and then I'll just go back and play the AC Valhalla DLC later. Gus has been playing. Do you want to say it, or do you want me to, or do you want to just skip
World
right past
of
it?
Warships.
World of Warships. I do want to know.
Although I did play a new mobile card battler game called Cards with a K. Although
what a
I don't
name.
think I'll
Tells
play
you
it
nothing about it based on the name.
It's a World War II card battler. It's cool, but it's just like I'll probably end up deleting it this week. I just like there's a lot of cool stuff in it. And I think the artwork is awesome, but that's not enough to keep me playing it.
Yeah, I'm curious how the DC card battler that's being worked on right now, if that's ever going to come to mobile, because right now it's in early access or beta and it's only on PC. But I'm even worse than you. Like Snap kept my attention probably the longest of anything, and it kept me in it for 4 months, 5 months, and then I bounced, and I was like, oh, I got my fill of this. And that brings us to the man that returns from the mountains, Spencer. What have you been playing? Anything before or after your trip that's
I did,
worth talking about?
Spider-Man PS4 2018, right? 2018's Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, Sony exclusive. Does that count?
Yeah, after you got your free PS4.
PlayStation 4 in June. Yeah, I know. I waited about 2 months and got it on sale, $19.99 for the Game of the Year edition, which is all you can buy. They delisted just Spider-Man. You can only get the Game of the Year, which comes.
So you bought it digitally?
Yeah. I mean, I could have bought it. I probably, if I really had cared, but I wasn't hurting for it. But had I been hurting for it, I probably could have gone to Disc Replay and picked it up, I'm sure, for $15 or something, like an actual disc copy from 2018. But yeah, so that's probably the most interesting thing that I've played since 3 weeks since I've been on.
Okay.
Sorry, I paused there because I didn't want the audience to hear me burping horrifically. My wife just handed me peach cobbler, so that's why I was having to burp. So, anyways,
I want some.
So I listened to the Smallville rewatch podcast, Talkville, with Michael Rosenbaum.
I've been watching that for the first time myself.
After you watch each episode, you should go and listen to the Talkville episode where they talk behind the scenes.
I should.
That would be cool to do 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, you could do it on your drive to work or something.
But I bring it up because the host, Michael Rosenbaum, occasionally burps on the show, into his mic. He sometimes turns it away, but there's been a few that he notably burps in the middle of the episode, makes no attempt to
belches into the mic.
Yeah, I'm not going to imitate it, but it's a short one. It's not like he lets out a 10-minute, but it is its own thing. But
yeah, so I've been playing that. I really like it. It's really good. Obviously, it's been out for 5 years. Everybody knows this game is really good, but
the highest selling PlayStation game of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why. The production value is really high. The graphics still hold up. It looks good. It doesn't. It's not bothering me to play it, even though it's 5 years old. And I'm on a PS4 base. I'm not even on a Pro. I'm not on PS5, so I'm it's basically what 2017 era Xbox, because before the One or the One X. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, it holds up really well. The gameplay is really fun. It's pretty complex. When I started, I played a little bit this week after my trip, and I was like, man, I don't remember any of these button combos and things like that. but there's a few that are intuitive that you kind of figure it out and you're like, all right, this will work. There's lots of depth to it, like quite a bit as far as like suit customization, or not quite suit customization.
The powers.
Yeah, and then like the different kind of gadgets and things that you have.
Yeah.
And you can equip different gadgets that shoot different types of webs, or that's all I have so far is like ones that just shoot like, I think it's like a more powerful web blast. I think, I'm not sure.
It's like a web trap. I use that one all the time.
Yeah, I'm playing on the lowest difficulty, I think, or the next to lowest difficulty, because I think there's 4 and I'm on the second one just because I was like, I don't really,
which I think is normal.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really need to like try, and I kind of want to just play this game for being a Spider-Man story. The villains so far, I fought Kingpin and Shocker. Shocker is obviously funny.
I cannot wait for you to get to the most like hated / memed part of that game. It's really the only thing about the game that anybody really complains about in any.
Oh yeah, is it a boss fight?
No, it is a stealth mission where you play as someone other than Spider-Man.
Oh, the Mary Jane, like where
the Mary Jane stealth.
I thought that was fine. I did that. I actually did that. Did I do that earlier this week? It was either earlier this week.
I think it happens twice, maybe 3 times.
I did the first one.
By the second or third time, everybody was like, "Okay, this is so boring." I didn't think it was that bad either, but it is funny.
I honestly like. You're in the museum, and I was surprised that she showed up, because you're like, Spider-Man's like, he sees her camera and he's like, wait a second, that camera belongs to, and then the camera cuts and it's like her standing there, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then like it goes like 15 minutes prior, and I was like, oh, it was a cutscene, and then you start playing as her, and I was actually surprised. I had no idea that was a thing in this game. I assumed you just were always Spider-Man, so it's kind of a surprise. But yeah, the character models are super good, and like the facial animations are really good too. Like they hold up incredibly well.
I love the Spider-Man outfits. I love that about Spider-Man games, that he has deep comic lore for all the suits. Cool. Yeah,
no, I know that's the coolest thing. Is like I was playing it, and once again, we can rag on Avengers not having like easily accessible suits. That you have to unlock them by doing various things in the game world in Spider-Man, but like it's not insane. If you will.
Think about it, like Batman Arkham Knight, Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, they had tons of costumes. Mm-hmm. It's a part of the comic book game fantasy is to be able to play all the stuff from all the cool comics.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was part of the Game of the Year edition, but all of the 3 movie Spider-Man suits are in there. So
they were added as free DLC.
Okay, yeah. So
those weren't in the game.
They look so good. Like they looking like Kate, my wife, was watching me. And she's like, "That looks like exactly like Tobey Maguire's suit. Like exactly like it. It's super cool."
I think I this is dated my memory, but I think they got like scans of the suit, like the actual build of the suit that they used to make it or something.
I mean, you can tell. I'm not as familiar with the Amazing Spider-Man, but I think it looks really good. But definitely
it looks the same as the movie.
Definitely with the Tom Holland suit and the Tobey Maguire suit, like they look, I mean, just right on. It's super cool. I was running around with the Tobey Maguire suit for a while. Now I forget which one I'm using, what it's called, but it's like the one. It really reminds me of, again, Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man when he goes to the cage match with Bonesaw. It kind of looks like that. It's like it almost looks like a sweatsuit, but then with like a sleeveless hoodie on.
Is it not Tom Holland's from the beginning of Homecoming?
No, it's an actual one from the game. Like it's a suit that you.
It's like the prototype suit.
Maybe, I don't know, but it looks really cool. I don't know why I like it so much, but it looks like a sweatsuit, and it's kind of cool.
There's a cool suit in the Miles Morales game, the next game, where when you put it on, it makes it into the Spider-Verse animation style, where it skips every frame to where you like do the like juddered animation, and that is really cool. There's also the wisecracking. There's a superpower. One of the powers you unlock is you can have it to where he wisecracks more. So you can be Spider-Man like cracking jokes all the time. But I think you control it. I think it's like on your sticks. That one's pretty fun too.
It is like, it's classic Spider-Man where he's like constantly just like saying kind of silly things and cliches and stuff.
And actually... Wait, have you tried the comic suit? The one that makes it cell shaded, looking like it's ripped off a page?
I don't think I have that yet.
Okay, that one looks really cool too. You should definitely check that one out.
I love
the animated cell shade stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I get on there next, I'll check and see if I have it. I don't think I have it.
I think it's about halfway down, so you might have to wait a while to unlock it. Another cool thing is there's a hidden collectible in the game that it doesn't like overtly like count or tell you exists, but there's like 10 to 20 landmarks around the city that you can go to.
Mm-hmm. Take pictures of them.
Yes. And a lot of those are really cool, like straight from the comics. So it's definitely worth, if you can't find one of those on your own, like looking them up.
Well, yeah, some of them are like at the Empire State Building, like obviously a real building. But then like one I found like the other day was like the Wakanda Embassy.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Or this is Sorcerer Supreme, the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah, yep.
And there's the Baxter Building for the Fantastic Four. And
yeah,
just, like,
I haven't gone to the north end of Manhattan yet, which is where the Avengers Tower is, but I'm sure that's one of them too. Like I sent you guys a picture when I was on top of the Empire State Building. I saw it off in the distance.
I know there's a trophy for doing something at Uncle Ben's grave too. I think you have to just visit it and pay your respects. But
doing
that's
the
on
gritty on it.
That's the farthest north of the map as you can get. So it's like really far up.
I thought it was interesting, like when you're in Doc Ock, like you work for Doc Ock as he's like, I don't know. I think Peter Parker in this story has like his master's degree, or maybe he has his doctorate and he's like doing like a postdoc or something. I don't know, but he's working for Doc Ock and you find your thesis. Like you find Peter Parker's thesis. That's why I'm not sure what exactly he's doing. But when you're working for him in the lab, there's like these little mini games that you can do, which is interesting. And then they kind of do the same ones with Harry Osborn, like with the I don't even know what you call them, like the research. Excuse me.
Oh
the
I forgot about those little puzzles.
They're kind of annoying. Like the ones where it's like
they do get
gas
old.
that you have to like take samples of, and you have to like swing through it just right. Those are kind of annoying.
Okay, so that part of the game does feel slightly.
Those are kind of annoying. I mean, to be fair though, like most of the kind of almost like Radiant events, like the crimes that you can stop, those are all not bad. Like they're pretty fun. Like the break-ins or like the speeding cars or the kidnappings.
Problem is you have to do to get 100% of the game. You have to do I think 3 in every or 1 of every type in every district, and it just becomes a slog by the end of it.
I don't know.
But the problem is you can't control which one you get randomly.
Well, that's true.
So like you have to keep rolling the dice and just keep doing them. But in every borough, and every sub borough or whatever. I did it for the base game, but then when Miles Morales came around, I was like, I can't do this again. And I didn't do it for the DLC either.
Man, all this talk just really makes me want a new Batman Arkham game.
I know, and instead
we're
going to get that
sad
Suicide
that they
Squad
tried
game.
to do the whole Gotham Knights thing, and it just like didn't work. And
well, the studio that did Batman is going to be, yeah. I hope that they reworked that game to where it's going to be good.
I really want another Batman game.
I know, I do too. Actually, just in general, I want superhero games are so like if you put the money in to make it good,
it should just be easy money.
Well, it has built-in fun.
The Arkham games,
it's superpowers. You have comics to draw from for the lore and the writing.
Exactly.
Like it's got to be way easier than coming up with a new IP and worrying about it succeeding on the market. But if you think about it, we've got Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, Wonder Woman, Black Panther, World War II, Captain America. That's 5 superhero games that I just mentioned with big budgets that are coming out in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's a lot. And we're still in the games we've been playing. So I'm going to move us on, Spencer, unless you had any final thing to add.
Nope, it's really good. I'll play it a little bit this week before Starfield, and then probably not play it again until October. So,
yep. As this podcast is going live on Monday, the 28th, Starfield unlocks for us on the East Coast Thursday at 8 p.m.
Except for me, ironically enough, because I bought the collector's edition I bought is the physical copy, so they're not going to get it to me on time. So.
Well, they'll get it to you the day that
I'll have it
is
Friday.
on the package.
I'll play it Friday, but I won't be able to play it Thursday night like all the cool kids.
Yep, I'll be a cool kid.
I probably have something on my calendar that I'm doing that night anyway. So
yeah, me too. Actually, now that I think about it, I haven't even looked to see if
I don't. Believe it or not, that's shocking.
I'm looking right now. Oh my gosh, I am actually. I have my boss's boss is in town from Georgia, and we have dinner with her that
Got
night.
a schmooze.
Yep, I'll play it when I get back, but I won't be back till like probably 10. So
and you'll be hammered from getting drinks with the boss.
The boss's boss
on their dime, company credit card.
Okay, news. Let's talk Gamescom. That's what I have an overarching Gamescom as number one, although a lot of these other items that are on the list also came from Gamescom. So I think the Gamescom proper is mostly opening night live. And look, it's Gamescom. Tons of little pieces of news trickle out. Tons of stuff got release dates and this and that. I really just kind of put in here the stuff that we, as the three of us that shoot the crap on this podcast, are interested in. And yeah, well, sorry, I like to keep PG-13 so we don't have to put the MA like thing. We're, so shoot the crap isn't exactly what people say, but you know what I mean. You can listen to us with your kids.
How about shoot the breeze? How about that?
Shoot the breeze. Sure. Look, I'm even bad at not swearing. I'm bad at swearing and not swearing. Okay, first up, at opening night live, Age of Empires 4 Anniversary Edition was announced, which was going to also come to consoles. And the surprise was that it came as of the announcement. So it was available immediately on Game Pass. And the changes, it's mostly stuff to make it available on consoles. So there's a villager priority system, which makes it easier to like have your villagers farm materials. Like you can say like a certain percentage farm wood, a certain percentage farm iron or whatever, and they will just keep doing that within a certain area so that you don't have to micromanage them like you do on PC, since the controller is zooming around, that might be annoying. They also obviously added controller input. They do support keyboard and mouse on console. It has a dedicated UI for console only. So there's a separate UI that they've developed for console. And then they added a new tutorial for console as well. And it's available on Xbox. I think it's all Xboxes. I think it's Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. But now that I'm saying it, I'm not quite sure. But I'm pretty sure it's available on all of the above. Spencer, I saw it looked like you might have played this for a few minutes. Did you?
I did,
download
yes. I did. So I did download this. I started the tutorial, but then kind of hesitated because I was thinking, I'm like, well,
right before Starfield.
Yeah, like I don't want to get educated on how the game plays and the controls work on console right before I won't be playing it very much. So I kind of played the first little bit of the tutorial and then stopped. But it's really good. Like it looks super good. Like I know Age of Empires 2 obviously was a remaster, but it looks so much better than it looks so much better than Age of Empires 2, even the remaster on console. And another thing that I like that I feel like so many strategy games on in general, but especially on console, mess up is scaling and just kind of detail. Like especially Age of Empires 2, not to rag on it because I know it's 20 years old, but I feel like stuff looks disproportionate. Like buildings look too small compared to people, and people look too big compared to certain things.
Yeah, it looks more like a chessboard version.
Yeah, and it kind of like Civilization does that, but that's kind of like the appeal or kind of like the style of Civilization, so it's not as big of a deal. But for a game like Age of Empires, where it's a real-time strategy where you don't like have the whole world that you're looking at, it's a little bit more distracting. And so I kind of like that. Like I noticed that kind of off the bat that they kind of had gotten around that, I think, a little bit, and it looked really good. Age of Empires. Sorry, I said it's good when you were talking about Age of Empires in the chat, Tim.
What's pressed the claim successfully?
I said that's what I was doing in Crusader Kings. I was pressing the claim for the Kingdom of Sicily for one of my vassals.
Okay. Out of context, reading the chat that you said 20 minutes ago, definitely not my best moment.
Yes. But yeah, Age of Empires 4, very cool. It's very good. I also, quick tangent, Humankind. We talked about that game a long time ago.
Yeah.
It also was released this week, finally on console. I think after like a year almost delay or 8-month delay. So I also downloaded that, and started playing it. Same thing happened. I was like, I'm not. And it's also just Civilization. Like if you like Civilization, you'll like this game because it's almost the same thing, just a different spin on it.
Okay, so next thing from Opening Night Live is they had a new trailer for Cyberpunk 2077 Update 2.0 / Phantom Liberty. So the difference is Update 2.0 is coming to the base version of the game, and then Phantom Liberty obviously is adding new story, new area, new gear and stuff that is specific to that. So the trailer was like themed around new ways to play. The Update 2.0, they said, is going to launch a little before Phantom Liberty, which Phantom Liberty is 5 weeks away, so it should be coming in the next few weeks. And the highlights are overhaul skill trees, new police system, new car combat system, reworked cyberware system, slots and dynamic missions, and open world events. And then I put a note in here to myself. The new vehicle hacking, you can now like shoot and do all kinds of stuff while you're driving. Hacking while driving looks exactly like what you do in Watch Dogs, like how you can like hack into someone else's car and like kill the engine or like turn the wheels or something to cause them to crash, which is always fun in Watch Dogs, although it got less fun with each game, well, at least the first two. I never got very far in the third one. I intend to go back, but I don't know what else to say about this. This all sounds really great. I'm glad I didn't finish the game yet because I do plan to go back and play the DLC, but it'll probably take me a couple months because I'll be playing Starfield. Anything from you guys? Are either of you going to buy the Phantom Liberty update or check out the 2.0 update for Cyberpunk?
Well, seeing as how I have barely even got into the original game, probably not.
That you got for $5?
$10.
$10. And
hey, but this would be a good way to get into it.
I mean, I could.
you really should.
I mean,
I feel like you would love that game.
The game was already, like, in my opinion, completely perfect after 2.0 last year, like 18 months
1.5,
ago.
I think
whatever
it was.
Yeah, I
called.
should get into it.
I think it was 1.7.
Like,
yeah.
at that point, I mean, yeah, the police stuff was still kind of broken and cars were like, car chases didn't, like, okay, whatever. But as far as the game goes, like, it was perfect. And
yeah, I still have, I mean, Starfield's coming out, the new season or new campaign for World of Warships is coming out.
All this time you were playing World of Warships.
To get me into it right now.
You could have been playing Cyberpunk all this time.
I could have been, but me love boats.
Mila boats.
Yeah,
if we had merch store, I'd be getting a Mila boat shirt made after that comment. Mila boats.
I mean,
just a picture of a little tugboat, like in a boat, like that you'd have in a tub of water as a child,
like a
little sail.
boat.
It'd be like one of the silhouettes of like the tier 1 meme ships and.
No, that would be on the back. On the front, it would be like a boat with a little, like for a bathtub. That would be the joke. Yeah, Spencer.
I'm surprised you're even asking. Like, of course I'll get this.
Yeah, I just didn't know because it seems like we're all going to be playing Starfield.
No, I mean, well,
months.
the fortunate thing is this comes out September 29th, so
a month later
should have plenty of time in the Starfield where I feel like I'll be able to pull myself away. Plus, if I'm going to pull myself away from a Bethesda game, it'll be for a CD Projekt Red game. So,
yeah.
But I watched a couple. Like, I watched the trailer and I watched a couple of the other kind of ancillary. Like, I think they did something with who's the company that make NVIDIA? They did a video with NVIDIA to like highlight the differences with like the ray tracing and stuff like that. But
oh yeah, and they're also doing. I think they're supporting the new NVIDIA tech they announced at Gamescom. What is it? DLSS 3.5, which is the frame generation plus whatever else.
Yeah, so it looks cool. We'll see. I'll buy it the day, or I'll play it the day it comes out. Probably I'll buy it. I'm a little apprehensive about going to a new area, but I guess it's still part of Night City, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I already bought it because I had gift cards on my account. I redeemed all my reward points for gift cards to use for all the fall games, and that was one of them since it was only $30. But okay, moving on from Cyberpunk, Starfield. So obviously, there's been tons of discussion of Starfield because every media outlet that was able to get in front of Todd Howard or Phil Spencer, basically 75% of the questions they asked them were about Starfield. And well, obviously Todd Howard 90%. Although he did get asked about Elder Scrolls if he announced it too early, and he said basically yes, but his actual answer was I would have done it in a more casual way. Which is funny because it was pretty casual. They announced it with a little like logo screen, and then they said, just telling you it's coming after Starfield so that you don't ask us about it. Like, that's pretty casual. Like, it's not like they put a date to it. Anyway, so the things they announced for Starfield or showed is they had a live action trailer, which I thought was, well, kind of uneventful. It wasn't memorable like Gears of War trailers have been in the past, or Halo's live action trailers in the past. Even Destiny's live action trailers have been pretty cool. There also were a bunch of outlets that did interviews with Todd Howard. Nothing really new has been revealed except for that he confirmed this will be the first Bethesda Studios game to have a new game plus, but he said they're doing it in their own way. So They also had some gameplay showing in their theater that the press got to write up that showed the first mission of the game and how it starts. I basically avoided all of this because the game's only 4 days away and I already
me
own
too.
it and have it preloaded. I don't really need to be sold on the game at this point.
Yeah, I ignored all that stuff too. I've kind of turned off the Starfield button tap of content over the last like 2 months because
What do you think about New Game
need to.
Plus in a Bethesda way? Like they aren't saying what it is. They're just saying they've done a twist on New Game Plus.
Yeah, I don't know. I because they've never really. I guess Fallout 4 had kind of New Game Plus, but it was just resetting your perks. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just going to be like a way to replay story missions and keep your progress. And, you know, since it's such a big exploration area, like maybe it doesn't reset your collectibles or something, so you don't have to do all those again. Or it doesn't reset your exploration, it just resets your story.
I've never been a person that's done New Game Plus.
I have only initiated it on a few games. Batman Arkham City was one, but I never complete. The only time I've ever completed multiple playthroughs is on games that required it for like a good and bad playthrough to get the full experience. And even then, I didn't always do it.
Plus, I don't know, just the game the size of Starfield or what it sounds like the size of it is. Like, I don't know why I would ever want to do New Game Plus.
Well, if you think about it, they are trying to support the people that have been playing Skyrim for over 10 years, and some of them on 20 save files, hundreds of save files. Maybe they're just trying to create a way for people to keep all their progress, but then reset it so they can have their cake and eat it too, right? Exactly what New Game Plus is for. Keep all your like progress and perks and XP and exploration, but maybe start over and play through the story again so that you can have a bigger challenge or just experience it again.
Yeah, true.
I mean, let's face it, Skyrim next to Minecraft and GTA 5 is like the trilogy of games that never die, and people will play infinitum. That's not a word. What's the word? Infinitum? Without end is what I'm trying to say. So they're, I think, just trying to build more ways in for people to do that. Okay, these next two I threw in for fun. Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. So this seems to be the third game in the Mud Runner series, where the first one was called Mud Runner, and the second one was called Snow Runner, and the third one is called Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, where it seems like a lost, they could have done like insert another type of terrain runner to make the trilogy all have a similar name scheme. So going to Expeditions, a Mud Runner game is interesting. Although it does seem like it has more of a mission structure than just like pick up something and move it somewhere else than the previous games. They said it's 2024. Spencer, you and I fell down the SnowRunner hole on Game Pass. Are you at all intrigued about a new Mud Runner sequel?
Yeah, I think so. I watched the trailer for it that they put out, and I think more of a structured take on it could be a good thing.
Like more of a story, like, hey, you're going to go to the woods and do this.
Yeah,
and
having like drone to kind of scout around would be really nice. That was one thing they showed off.
Yeah.
Kind of different winch mechanics or like recovery mechanics seems solid.
They had sonar for when you're in water to look at treading depth and stuff.
Yeah.
I hope it comes to Game Pass again.
Yeah, I mean,
because they
got a decent relationship with them.
Yeah, this is an exact example of a game that I'm not sure I am confident enough in to buy, but I definitely would check out on Game Pass. And again, that's not a reflection of the game, that's a reflection of me. Because I'm just not sure this game type of, like, I did play some SnowRunner, but I don't know that I'm really meant for these types of games. I don't always get the enjoyment that I think I would. Whereas like a Spider-Man game, I know I will like it, so I'm confident spending my money.
Yeah, no, SnowRunner was great. Like that was one of the games that I played during part of, I guess it was
pandemic time.
It was after lockdown because it came out. I think I was playing it after I had moved away, so it was like the fall of 2020. But yeah, it was a great game. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. So I will be watching this definitely. I think about getting back into SnowRunner from time to time just because of the some of the DLC trucks and things they've added. Like they did a partnership with Jeep. They did a partnership with somebody else that was pretty neat. But
maybe it'll all be in the Expeditions game at launch with like new brands.
Yeah, maybe.
Get the Hummer EV in there and the Rivian, and
I don't think you want electric vehicles going far out into the boonies in the middle of nowhere.
I know. It was a partial joke. I had it fresh in my mind because I was thinking of all the games that have the Hummer EV is getting shoved into everything. It's in Call of Duty, it's in Forza, it's in a bunch of I think it's in Fortnite or some other game too. They're really getting the marketing machine on the video game train for the Hummer EV. This last one is probably only interests me, although I'll be interested if either of you is going to check this out. So they gave an official name to the Assassin's Creed mobile game, but this will be the first Assassin's Creed mobile game that's going to be a full like 3D, the same as a console game, but on mobile. So the game, it's going from Assassin's Creed codename Jade to just Assassin's Creed Jade. So they just took out the word codename. But the interesting thing, they didn't give a release date. They did say a closed beta 2 is coming up. No controller support planned. So they said it would be really easy for them to add a controller because they already do it on their console games. And it's supported natively on Android and iOS, but they're not doing it because they wanted to challenge themselves to make a touch controls that work well for Assassin's Creed, which I know works for a lot of markets where mobile gaming is more common. But I still would prefer to play the mobile game with a controller on my phone, like I would if I was streaming, Xbox Cloud to my phone. So I really hope, because they did say the beta feedback was everybody wanting controller support. So I hope they add it, because I will definitely check out a mobile Assassin's Creed game as long as the microtransactions aren't like obscene. And I would really like controller support. I'll still check it out with mobile, but I'm probably not, or with touch, but I'm probably not going to play it as much as I would otherwise.
For some reason, I didn't even know this was mobile. When was that announced?
Remember when they announced like 7 Assassin's Creed games at the same time?
Yes.
This was the mobile one, and it's set in China, which obviously China is the biggest mobile gaming market in the world, so there's some synergy there. But it's like an actual 3D, open world Assassin's Creed game, whereas all the other previous mobile games had been side scrollers or little like cute characters that look like Funko Pops. This is an actual full-blown 3D Assassin's Creed game. And it's going to be a live service game where they're adding new content all the time because it's a mobile game. Obviously, you got to keep people buying the expansions. So they'll be adding new like regions of China and new missions and new stuff. So, if the pricing is fair and it's a good game, I think it could be a success for them. I'm just curious if it's going to be free to play. Like if it's going to be like a 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever price game. Like they've said nothing about that. So there's a lot of question marks about this one. Spencer, so you didn't know it was mobile. Any thoughts?
That kind of explains the trailer, because I did think the trailer looked I think it didn't look like a normal kind of console Assassin's Creed game as far as the visual style and the gameplay of it. So, well, that's good. I'm glad to know that that was a mobile game. Makes sense.
Oh, because otherwise you thought, wow, they've really taken a step back.
Well, I was just like, this is very weird looking for an Assassin's Creed game. So, but that makes sense.
Gus, will you check this out? If it's free to play?
No, I won't. And you want to know why? Because I'm still mad that they decided to go the route with an Asian setting on mobile rather than actually spending time on a game. I don't care.
They're doing a Japan game for console. That's the next big RPG.
Look, don't care.
You're just mad the first one is on mobile?
They should have done China first rather than Japan on console. Like it should have been Japan on mobile and China on console.
No, you are way wrong there. Nope. China is the mobile first market.
We already have a Japanese style game. Like I don't know why I can't think of it.
Ghost of Tsushima?
Yes. Shadows, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a PlayStation exclusive, and it's not an Assassin's
Creed
game.
Still, I know people are big on like Japan and all that, but I'm gonna tell you, China to me is so much like better of a setting for an Assassin's Creed game than Japan.
Yeah, well,
because they can still
you can understand from a business perspective why they would want to align the mobile first Chinese gaming market with a Chinese IP.
I understand that, but I'm just like, it's so much more to me. To me personally, it's more rich, but I'm sure a lot of people are more connected to Japan. Otherwise,
I mean, a lot of people have been asking for a samurai, including this podcast, a samurai game for Assassin's Creed Forever. So we are getting that.
Was this a meme, or are they making a samurai black?
That's a meme.
Okay.
Nothing has been confirmed. We haven't seen anything
except
for one little screen.
Not that I care, but I was like, I remember seeing something, and like the community was in like an uproar about it, and this was like a month or so ago. But I just wanted to like be like, so it's like, is this like an actual thing? Because apparently there was a black samurai at some point.
I don't know.
Could be samurai technically.
I don't know why they don't use the built-in narrative function to, like, they already let you put on like flaming costumes and stuff because you're in an Animus simulator. Like, why not let people make a custom character and then just say like, oh, you can toggle back and forth between the canon one and your character just for fun in the Animus. Then people could do custom characters. But like, I'm playing Valhalla right now. It bothers me that you can do all this customization with Eivor, but you can't. There's only like 5 hair options. There's 5 styles with each one having 5 colors. So it's like, this is it. This is all the customization I have. I can choose male or female and 5 haircuts that are the same across genders. But I also am a person where I'm sure somebody could pick an episode and find me saying like, I don't really customize characters a ton. Like in a game like Mass Effect, I do like the default shepherd with like a few tweaks. Even Cyberpunk, I'm doing the default female with a few tweaks to make her slightly less off-putting.
I would love to see a sub-Saharan African.
Oh, that would be... Well, we already got Egypt, but I would like
Zulu Nation Assassin's Creed. I feel like would be really cool. Like there's so many like untapped potentials, and I'm tired. I'm tired of the Middle East.
South America is another one with like the Amazon and
North Dakota.
Okay.
Hunt bison with the Native Americans.
Well, we already had a Native American game.
We do, yeah.
Fight off the Spanish. Kind of cool.
But
they already had a Spanish Inquisition thing with Ezio, right?
Or was that?
I'm pretty sure it was Ezio.
Yeah,
because he goes to Spain.
You're right. Like Sub-Saharan Africa, South America.
We're still waiting on like a Mexico.
We had
like Central through
like
South
Aztec
American, like
type.
Aztec or Mayan.
Yep. We did have a Russian side scroller. We had a Chinese, a Russian, and an Indian side scroller. That's another one. Proper Indian game.
If I'm not remembering correctly, which I'm pretty sure that I am, wasn't the whole like original Assassin's Creed based off of like the Mayan calendar? The world ends in 2012.
Yes, something like that.
So I was like, why have we not had a Mayan set Assassin's game?
I don't know. Right now they seem to be wanting to go really deep on cultures that have.
We're entering Call of Duty territory. We need 2 studios working on 2 Assassin's Creed games.
Well, it's Ubisoft, so they have 17 studios with 7,000 people working on it. Anyway, moving on.
I need more Assassin's Creed. We are an Assassin's Creed podcast. Don't forget that.
We do love Assassin's Creed here. I am going to check out Assassin's Creed Jade, but I will whine for controller support alongside my fellow players. Okay, what it normally would be the biggest news of the week, but Gamescom was going on, is number 2. Xbox is selling the cloud rights for Activision Blizzard to Ubisoft for all games that come out over the next 15 years in perpetuity. And this is in their goal to secure the CMA, the one country that has blocked the acquisition, to secure their approval. Now, I've got 3 bullet here from Microsoft and 2 bullet points from Ubisoft that I'll read real quick, and then you guys can give me your thoughts. Really, it's just one from Ubisoft. They tweeted out, the Ubisoft Plus lineup is expanding. We're excited to announce a new agreement that will bring Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft Plus via streaming upon completion of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We'll also be licensing the games to a range of cloud streaming and subscription services. So basically, they're just going to be the person that like negotiates and handles who gets the rights for cloud streaming of Assassin's Creed games. Or I'm sorry, Activision Blizzard games. Microsoft, in their lengthy blog about the deal, said the agreement effective at closing of our merger that transfers the cloud streaming rights for all current and new Activision Blizzard PC and console games released over the next 15 years to Ubisoft Entertainment SA, a leading global game publisher. The rights will be in perpetuity. So the game, all games that come out in the next 15 years, they will have cloud rights for that forever. The second bullet, Microsoft today has notified the restructured transaction to the CMA and anticipates the CMA review process can be completed in the 90-day extension in its acquisition agreement with Activision Blizzard expires on October 18th. So they basically are saying they think it'll be done before the new deal expires. And the third bullet, the agreement provides Ubisoft with the unique opportunity to commercialize the distribution of games via cloud streaming. The agreement will enable Ubisoft to innovate and encourage different business models in the licensing and pricing of these games on cloud streaming services worldwide. Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft for the cloud streaming rights for Activision Blizzard games through a one-off payment and through a market-based wholesale pricing mechanism, including an option that supports pricing based on usage. It will also give Ubisoft the opportunity to offer Activision Blizzard games to cloud gaming services running non-Windows operating systems. So you can read the full blog if you want other details. That's really the highlights. This really tells me that, I don't know, that Microsoft, like, what they said in court about how little importance and impact cloud gaming has for them, like how right now it's a feature of Game Cloud, it's not a service and a product by itself, really reinforced by the fact that they're just like, fine, Ubisoft can have it for 15 years if that'll get the deal done. We don't care.
Yeah. There's interesting Activision games going on Ubisoft Plus. I mean, so much of this is like you never would have thought this was possible 15 years ago or even 10 years ago.
Yeah, I wonder how that is affected with, I guess, because Ubisoft Plus, you can also download the games. It's not just streaming. So I wonder if those will be just streaming. Also, this only controls the cloud rights. So, like, Ubisoft won't have a say in if it comes to Game Pass. It just can't be exclusive to Game Pass, and it can't be exclusive to cloud gaming on Game Pass. Not that I think it would have been anyway.
Yeah.
Good opportunity for Ubisoft, though.
Yeah. I don't know. This type of stuff kind of is a little boring to me just because I don't care about it as much. But I do think like I said, the most notable thing about it to me is just like this idea of flexibility that I don't think was even remotely possible during the beginning of, or even really all of the Xbox One generation up to that point. This idea of all of these major competitors, really. I mean, Ubisoft and Activision are competitors, but for Activision getting acquired by Microsoft. So they're not exactly direct competitors anymore. But I mean, they were for years massive competitors.
Well, it also depends on what product you're talking about, right? Because they're competitors in gaming, in games, and in cloud streaming, but they're not in hardware or console manufacturing. So, like,
but I mean,
Microsoft
they're more
does it
known
all
for those things. Like Ubisoft, they don't make hardware.
Yeah.
So,
okay, well, let's move on to something slightly more exciting then. Number 3, Xbox has announced console wraps, which, much like the PlayStation 5 replacement shell, allows you to customize your console without having to buy a new one. And so they highlighted on Twitter, the people that worked on it were saying things like, we wanted to give our players a way to customize their consoles and make them look cool without having to buy a new console and without creating waste, right? So it's cheaper because people don't have to buy a whole new console. It's greener because people aren't buying multiple consoles and selling or throwing away old ones that end up as e-waste. So it's more sustainable and it's cheaper. So they've announced 3 of these to start. The Starfield one comes out October 18th for $50 US. The Arctic camo and mineral camo come out in the US and Canada November 10th for $45. And I think Europe, only one of the 2 camo ones is coming out, and they don't have a release date announced for the second one. But I'm just going to stick to US for now. Look it up in your local equivalent if you're in another locale. So it's $5 cheaper for the camo ones than it is for the Starfield one, which is definitely more intricately designed. It is themed in the same way that the headset and the controller are. I thought this looked pretty awesome. The only downside I see to the whole thing is I have my console laid flat in its current configuration, and they don't have like cutouts for the feet that are on the side of the console. So if you have to lay your console on your side, you're just going to be laying it down on this new wrap. And the Starfield one is white. So you could end up with, like a lot of grime or dust or whatever on it, depending on what surface. Like mine gets kind of dusty, so that would build up there probably on the bottom of it pretty bad. Not that the feet made that much of a difference, but it definitely would help a little bit if it had some sort of rubber feet accompaniment, or even if it just had a little bump out in the wrap, so the entire thing wasn't laying flat on its side. What do you guys think of this? Do you like this idea? How do you feel about the pricing? Do you want one? How do you feel about a wrap versus a custom console? I think between us, most of us haven't bought any custom consoles except for Spencer with the Star Wars one, right?
It just kind of depends on, I feel like the range of wraps that are going to be made available. Like, is it something that you have to, like, you would just send your console in and then they would wrap it for you?
No,
or they send it to you.
No, yeah, it's just it's actually fabric. It's not a sticker. And it has a little clasp on the back. So you put it on like a phone case. It just snaps around it.
And I don't know if I like that as much.
Fabric.
I like that more than an adhesive.
Yeah, I like that way better than a sticker.
I agree, because it's like you can change it. But
click on the link. They have a video of it being attached.
I feel like it would just look not as good.
I think it's going to be a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In the zoom-ins I looked at, I was actually pretty impressed.
Is that going to affect the performance of the console at all in terms of like how much heat it generates?
The entire top and back are open. Doesn't affect the vents at all.
Yes.
No, so I mean like they just cut around all the vents. They're like not even holes. It's just a big square. It's completely empty.
But just having that extra like insulation around it, will that do anything?
No, because all of the heat is dissipated through the vapor chamber out the top. So it intakes air in the back and it shoots hot air out the top.
Okay.
None of the cooling mechanism of the Xbox is a radiant system. It's all forced air.
Okay, good.
So yeah, it will have no performance hit whatsoever. Which I honestly, if mine were vertical, I would probably get the Starfield one just because it's
Mine's vertical. It's on a milk crate right now.
It's a cool looking
because I still have yet to find an actual like nice looking stand that I can put it on.
You should get I have the perfect solution for you. Buy one of those stands for a potted plant. It's exactly the height. You could just sit it by itself on like a pedestal.
I guess that's probably true. I just wanted like a nice little black wood stand I could put it on.
So we're building a house, and I'm trying to figure out exactly where my Xbox is going to go in the house so that I can have them pre-wire all the cables through the wall so I can hide my Xbox like off away and then just have the sleek TV on the wall with no wires or anything. It's turning out to be harder than I thought it would be because I don't have exact blueprint drawings yet, so I don't know exactly how walls are going to be. So I'm still figuring it all out, but it's fun. Spencer, how do you feel about these wraps? You said you like it better than a sticker, but
yeah, I won't get one just because I like the black of the console, and I think of these three they've announced so far, they're all very bright and would stand out like an eyesore in my entertainment space. So I won't get one, but I do like that they're that versus a sticker or I don't know what other option there would be, but that makes sense that they're
buying another console.
Well, right. Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how successful they are with this. I think we can expect that they're probably going to start releasing these wraps for all the, how they go through, like they have a couple controller designs at a time. And when they roll out a new one, the other one kind of fades off the market. I wonder if every time they introduce a new controller, they're going to do a console wrap at the same time. And then when that goes away, it'll go away and a new one will replace it the way it does now. Because, they're bringing out these camo ones. These are camos. We already had controllers of this camo. So then, they can cycle through all the controller designs that they've done as console wraps. I'm personally more interested in the ones that are game themed, like Fallout 5. Give me a Fallout 5 theme one that makes my console look like a mini nuke, or makes it look like a power armor or something. That would be cool. But also, oh my gosh, can you imagine the people that collect all the controllers now being like, oh crap, I'm going to start collecting all the wraps for the entire generation at $50 a pop. About a little cheaper than controllers, I guess. So I don't know. I think it's cool that you don't have to buy a new console. Like, I never customized because I don't want to buy a new console that's exact same specs as the one I have just to get a different exterior design. I think PlayStation did it right with their shell that like pops off. Like, if the Xbox Series X had like one screw on the bottom and the whole shell just slid up and off and you could just put on a different one, that would be pretty cool. But PlayStation doesn't do any cool designs. Like, they have different colors. And the first one they've offered that wasn't a solid color was, I think they've offered two, the LeBron James one and the Spider-Man 2 one. And that's it. So they like, you need to offer options. Like, that's how you move these things. Like, Starfield is the thing right now, so this is going to probably sell pretty well. But you need to already be working on like the next 5 or 10 of these for big games that are coming out, to kind of flush it out. Spencer really has it right. They really kind of shot themselves in the foot with using 2 different camos. Spencer, do you think they have some metric that camo is just purchased like ridiculously a lot? Because every generation
camo.
They make camo stuff. And even PlayStation, they have a camo controller.
There's
and
so many
console.
camo styles, and they've re-released with slight tweaks previous colors. Like, it's insane.
Like, PlayStation just released a camo console.
If you told me there were 23 different camouflage controllers that Xbox has released in the last 10 years, I would think you're probably right or close. 23 is a complete random guess. I have no idea.
I bet it's 20 in all generations of Xbox. Maybe not 20 in just since Xbox One, but yeah. Okay, number 4. Baldur's Gate 3. So the controversy with this was it came out on PC a week or two ago, and it's coming to PlayStation 5 later this year. But because they were having problems with Xbox Series S and Microsoft requires parity between X and S, they were not able to release it on Xbox, and they were still working on it. And Microsoft had dispatched engineers to Larian Studios to try and work through it. Well, at Gamescom, a lot of people kept asking about this because it's a de facto PlayStation exclusive without PlayStation paying a dime for that to be the case. So Phil Spencer met with the head of Larian Studios, and they were able to get a concession from Phil Spencer that they would allow the game to be published on Xbox. And the only difference between the Series X and the Series S version would be that the Series S version would not have couch co-op, which is what was their holdup. Now, it's coming in 23, so it's going to come after the PlayStation 5 version, so they've already lost some time, but it's going to come with the day one patches and the most recent patch that just came out this last week with 1,000 fixes in it. And they're also doing cross-save between Steam and Xbox, so if you're playing now on Steam and you want to also be able to play on your console when it comes out, that will be supported. I think this is actually a good move. I think a lot of people want them to drop the requirement that games launch on Series X and S. I think that's a mistake because the S really is. Phil Spencer said this in interviews too. It is like a way for families to be able to afford a game console of the current generation that has almost all of the specs. It is just a lower resolution, and if you drop that, it cuts a large part of families that can't afford a $500 console out from being able to get certain games. And let's face it, we already have differences in resolution and frame rate and ray tracing. Those are things they allow to be different. I think dropping split screen is a fairly innocuous thing, especially since they say they're still working to add it after launch. I don't know. Are you guys for or against this?
I mean,
getting a Gus doesn't really care either way from his look on his face.
If the goal is to get the game out quicker for people, then it is what it is, and they can figure out how to add it later. I don't think it matters that much. Like, I know,
don't try and hide it. Put a sticker on the box.
The only person that I know that's been playing Baldur's Gate 3, I think he was playing co-op, but he wasn't playing split screen. He was playing like co-op with people over the network. So, like, how many people are going to be sitting on their couches playing Baldur's Gate 3 together?
Not very many. They dropped it. That was another controversy.
Especially how many people that have a Series S. Like, let's be real. Like, the people that game or that console, like you just said, is, I suppose, targeted to, they're not the people that are playing Baldur's Gate 3. They're playing Rocket League and, like, Minecraft and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And not Baldur's Gate 3.
So another thing that came up in interviews at Gamescom, because Forza Motorsport was the other first-party game they were promoting at Gamescom, they dropped split screen co-op or split screen at all in local split screen. Sorry, local split screen was dropped for Forza Motorsport. And when asked why, it wasn't a technology decision. It was a creative decision. They made that at the beginning of development. And it was because they looked at the numbers and nobody was playing split screen on Forza Motorsport 7. It was very seldom used, a small percentage of the audience, and they didn't want to put resources of development into it because they wanted to put it into other things that are used more often. So again, if you're going to have, I think it's acceptable to break parity in a few select ways. This one is borderline because maybe there are a few people that will think they're going to get it and they're not going to, and the parity, the experience is materially different. Whereas resolution and frame rate are just in the way it plays and the way it looks, but the functionality is the same. This is actually functionality being different, but I think it's most important that you disclose the difference, right? Either communicate it or make sure on the back of the box it doesn't have like co-op, those little icons they used to have. As long as it's clear to people or it gets added after launch, it seemed acceptable. And let's face it, it's the same reason Sony was able to finally gave in on crossplay when Fortnite said, look, you're going to do crossplay. And Fortnite had the market power to do so. Well, Baldur's Gate is getting 10 out of 10 reviews everywhere, and everyone's talking about it. And Xbox was ceding exclusivity to PlayStation for no reason. So, yeah, make some concessions to get that on the platform. And maybe you learn from it and either find ways to avoid this in the future or find out what is acceptable concessions that if, maybe don't make it such a hard and fast rule. Let's look at each game on a case-by-case basis and talk to the developers and look at why they're struggling with certain things and try and help them. And do we have to get the game on the console? What is better, having to buy a $500 PlayStation because you have an Xbox and you can't play Baldur's Gate, or getting Baldur's Gate and not being able to do co-op? I think a lot of people that only have Xboxes would prefer to have the option to at least be able to buy the game. It's not like they're taking out a third of the campaign. It's not like they've taken out, half the armor in the game or, half the story or something like that. They've taken out a feature that is seldom used by, or let me say, a small percentage of the audience. It is a material difference, though. I do want to acknowledge that. And so from the promise of parity, they are taking a step back on that. But I think most of the community seems to be embracing it. I'm a little on the fence, but I do think in general, it's just better that people have access to the game as long as they're not losing absolutely key features. I'm trying to think of an example of something that would be egregious. It would be egregious if Forza had a track missing, right? Like you didn't have the Nuremberg ring on S because they didn't have enough RAM or whatever to render the whole track. So you lose out on an iconic racetrack on S. What did I say? Nuremberg?
Yes. You said Nuremberg ring. So it's the Nuremberg.
Nuremberg
I was just like, oh, the Nuremberg trials, huh?
Whatever. Okay, off my soapbox. Number 5. Star Wars Dark Forces is getting a remaster, and it's coming to consoles. Night Dive Studios, who remastered System Shock and Quake 2 for Xbox really recently, they're also doing a version. They're going to get it cleaned up to run on modern hardware with high resolutions. They're saying 4K, 120 FPS, improved lighting, improved atmospheric effects, coming to PS5, Series X, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Steam, Q4 2023. The original came out in 1995, and it came to PlayStation in 1996. And this was the first game to feature Kyle Katarn, who went on to be the star of Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight 2, and Jedi Knight 1 as a lightsaber wielder. But this is an FPS before he became a Jedi. Spencer, Gus, any thoughts on this?
Do we know?
I'm hyped for anything Legends because that is my canon.
Yeah, same. Yeah, do we know? I guess it's more of like, it's not a remake, obviously. It's just kind of up-resing, upscaling.
Yeah, they call these remasters, but it's just basically modernization to run the original game.
But hey, that's fine. I don't know. I don't think I've played Dark Forces. I've played Jedi Academy and the second Jedi Academy, I think. But
yeah, I've played Jedi Academy and Jedi Knight 2. I don't think I played Jedi Knight 1 or Dark Forces, which were the first two games. This is another one of those game series I always make fun of because it's Jedi, it's Star Wars Dark Forces, Star Wars Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, and then the third game is Jedi Knight 2, and they dropped Dark Forces, and the third game is Jedi Academy. So it's 4 games. One of them has 2 of them have a 2 in it, and the third one is actually the 4th one and doesn't have a 3 in it. It's so funny and so confusing. It's hilarious. I grew up. Jedi Knight 2 was an iconic game when I was a kid, though. I remember playing that on PC a ton. Okay, Spencer, you text me and Gus last week about Tomb Raider and how much because Tomb Raider is coming to Fortnite, and you said, "Man, I really want a new Tomb Raider game." And I said, "Hey, there is hints that it may get announced for release next year. Here's the news of that." Number 6. TombRaider.com has received updates with a new feature to sign up for news about the franchise. And so it says, become a Tomb Raider. Are you ready to become a Tomb Raider? Sign up to be the first to hear breaking news regarding the Tomb Raider franchise, including rewards, exclusives, merch, releases, and more. So this could be nothing. They could just be updating their website. But the fact that they did it on TombRaider.com, and when you go to the homepage, this is all there is this form, does lead me to think they're going to announce something in the next 6 months. But it doesn't mean that it's a game. It could be comic books, it could be books, it could be movies, it could be anything. I think on this podcast all really want it to be a game because we like the Tomb Raider franchise, but
need something game related to be announced.
Oh, I also misspoke. She's not coming to Fortnite. She's coming to Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Not Fortnite, Call of Duty. The other game that is currently trying to say, "Hey, us too. We're doing IP license for all of our people. Buy our stuff too. We're like Fortnite." Hey, you with the money. Lara Croft, Nicki Minaj, Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I went in the game the other day and it's like Snoop Dogg, Nicki Minaj.
I thought it was Cardi B.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cardi B.
Yeah, it's Cardi B.
It's even funnier when I get the joke wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went in there to see what customization stuff they had that wasn't just generic. And yeah, it was like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, and then soon to be Lara Croft. And I was like, hey, let's get why can't I think of his name? Let's get Taylor Swift in there. That seems to align politically. Like a game about killing people with the smiling face of America, the world really at this point. Okay. Number 7. This will be the last one this week. Oh, wait. No, I have one more. It's the thing I forgot to mention last week, but that'll be small. Number 7. Destiny 2, The Final Shape Showcase. This is the final expansion of the Light and Darkness saga, started all the way back with the release of Destiny 1. Release date is February 27th, 2024. You will be going inside the Traveler. They call it the Pale Heart, which is the opposite of the Dark Heart mission in the original Destiny. They are revamping the power system, so now some activities won't require power levels. So like everybody will be the same level, which opens up those parts of the game to be played by just about anybody. So that's cool. They're also introducing something called Fire Team Power, where you can do some activities even if you're not high enough level, as long as your friend is high enough level. So like a high level player can take you into something you're not high enough for, and it'll just scale up your level to play with them. It allows more and more people to get into stuff that used to be locked behind, grinding for enough power to do it. So opening the game up to more people. They also are introducing a new thing called Timeline Reflections that allows you to catch up on the previous game story and lore through like shorter missions that have some abbreviated cutscenes and some shooting areas. Actually, here's the description. Destiny 2 Forsaken, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, and Destiny 2 The Witch Queen mission features short jolts of gameplay plus cinematic summaries of these pivotal moments across those 3 parts of the game. So basically, for people that didn't play certain parts of the game, you can get caught up to be able to play the final shape when it comes out. It sounds like they're doing a lot of stuff to make it easier for newcomers to get into the game, because the game after 10 years has become unwieldy, even for people like me that have played thousands of hours and don't want to catch up on all of it to stay relevant. They're also adding new weapons types. They're adding 3 new supers, And then they're changing their season pass model. A couple weeks ago while you were gone, Spencer, I complained about how every game has seasons and how it's becoming an old tried thing. Well, Destiny said they've reached the end of what they can sustain on the seasonal model. So they're switching to something that sounds a whole lot like seasons. They are going to have 3 episodes a year, and each of those 3 episodes will be broken down into 3 acts, and each act will have new quests, story, activities, weapons, mods, ranks, season pack ranks, rewards, and armor. So basically, they're just going to be doing content every like 3 to 6 weeks, however that breaks down. Divide the year into 9 sections, and that's how long each one will be. So they're effectively going to be seasons, only now instead of like a continuous story arc, each of those episodes will have like a contained story arc across 3 acts. So you won't have to like play them in order. So like if you want to go back and play one, it's like almost like a self-contained story. I think I finally reached my limit with Destiny where I'm just out. So
it's pretty incredible, like the continued like level of support for this game. I to me, it's like nothing even remotely comes close to the level of support that it's gotten. Like it's kind of the platinum standard for that type of thing. It's pretty insane. Just continuous content.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the games that have chased it and failed. I think maybe the best game you could say would be Division. Division's the only one that didn't totally screw it up. But then you have games like Avengers, pretty much failed. Anthem failed. Plenty of others that chased it along the way. Oh, Gotham Knights, the worst offender. I haven't punched on them in a while. Get down there. Boom. Bad Gotham Knights.
Trash.
Yeah, that game's trash. And I paid for it and I beat it. So I can say that.
The story wasn't even good, right?
The story was the only thing that wasn't like absolutely horrendous. It was acceptable. It was a little corny, but it's a comic book game. It was more comic booky than many others. But of all the things to complain about, the story wasn't like the worst of them. Go back and listen to the episodes about that if you want to hear me rant about it repeatedly. All of the things that are wrong. I have a very long list. I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, the thing I missed last week was that we talked about Game Pass editions. I forgot to talk about the ones that are being removed from Game Pass, and they're being removed on the 31st, which is this Thursday. So it's Black Desert, Commandos 3 HD Remaster, Immortality, Nuclear Throne, Surgeon Simulator 2, and Tiny Kin. So nothing too big there unless you're into any of those, but those are all like probably lesser games as far as the grand scheme of things. That's it. That's everything. Well, at least everything that I wanted to talk about this week, or that you guys wanted to talk about that you brought up. Final thing I want to talk about just for a minute is Gamescom overall. It's very weird to me that we used to have a situation where every year, this is like 10 years ago, you'd have an E3 press conference for all 3 publishers or console manufacturers. You'd have a Gamescom press conference, and you'd have a Tokyo Game Show conference. Tokyo Game Show dropped out years ago, and some of them stopped attending. Most of them stopped doing like showcase events or any kind of announcements. Then they stopped doing showcases at Gamescom a few years ago and just started doing a couple trailers, maybe a small thing here or there. We're going to drop Age of Empires like they did this year. And now that E3 is dead by all intents and purposes, didn't happen this year. There was no showcase. We had Summer Game Fest instead and some standalone stuff. It seems like everybody is just now doing their own thing. And I do lament the loss of the big showcases where we just get a ton of stuff announced and thrown in our face. Whereas now, like Destiny, the Final Shape had their own showcase, and Sega had their own showcase, and Nintendo had their own showcase. And now if you want to be fully engulfed in everything, you really got to watch like 20 showcases spread out over, 6 months. And so you really got to kind of hone in on the stuff you already know about. And I think it actually is hurting a lot of the smaller and medium-sized stuff because there's less opportunities for them to get their word out, right? Like if I don't watch some small publisher showcase and I'm not on, a website for gaming news frequent enough, how are those devs going to get their knowledge about their game out to a wider community? it's just a weird challenge and a change in the way that games are marketed that I wonder how it's going to affect things long term, because pretty soon we're probably not going to have trade shows at all. Like, and maybe Gamescom is the only one to survive 10 years from now. And even then, that's probably going to be as a consumer show, not as a trade show.
Yeah, Gamescom is always the biggest one because it was bigger even than E3, even during their heyday as far as attendees. So
I still want to go once in my life.
I feel
but
like
I wouldn't
that
go.
has something like that's kind of a benefit that it has as far as being able to last longer.
Yeah, it is huge, which helps it financially be sustainable. And it's more of a consumer event than it is a press event. There's like a 1 or 1.5 days of press only to do some coverage, but then it's really about the hands-on for everybody. Am I the only one that thinks it's weird they didn't allow people to go hands-on with Starfield a week before launch? What do you think the thought is there? They could have locked it down. I guess maybe they didn't want to put dev hours into making a lockdown vertical slice. Like Forza was playable.
I don't know. I can't remember about Fallout 4 if it was like that either at Gamescom the year it came out.
Also a different deal though, because it was announced with a shorter time frame, so it would have just been announced right before Gamescom.
True.
But I mean, I guess it could have had a playable there. I don't remember. Also, that might have been during the period that Microsoft wasn't attending as often or in as big a presence. Like this year, they had an absolutely massive booth, which is funny because Starfield was one of the things they were pushing, and they didn't have play booths for that. That was just in a theater where people could watch gameplay on a loop or whatever, or go to like timed presentations. So they didn't even have to have 50 dedicated Starfield gaming sessions with, computers and consoles and all that stuff. Anyway, that's my side tangent. Any other final thoughts from you guys or things you want to talk about?
No, I'm excited for Starfield.
Yeah, I was going to say almost Starfield time.
Oh, yeah. This is our last show before we'll have all played Starfield.
Yep. Crazy.
Next week.
I told my girlfriend, I was like, just so you know, there's a new game coming up that I'm going to be
You're
playing.
dead to me. You're dead to me. I don't know
she
who
was
you
like,
are.
oh, no.
I've been dropping hints to my wife, and she has not picked up on them at all. You get your normal 2 hours after the kids go to bed to do whatever you want. Leave me alone. So the game also reviews, I think, come out on Thursday, the 31st at 9 a.m. So we have that Thursday morning, unlock Thursday night, and then gameplay, and then we'll record a podcast on the weekend with our initial thoughts. Hopefully we've each gotten in a good amount of time before then. So that's exciting. The final show before the biggest first-party release since the Xbox 360? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's biggest in a long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Halo Infinite would have been this big if it had been not delayed 1,000 times and it was a better game at launch. But anyway, okay, that's it. Thanks for listening. I'm Tim Shelton. You can follow me on X or Twitter at Tim Shelton. And
I'm Spencer Ray, and you can follow me on the platform formerly known as Twitter at Makes It Rain.
And I'm Gus Harden. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns for myself, you can at Multiform Pod on x.com.
You always say owned and operated by Elon Musk. You didn't say that this week. Owned and operated
by Elon Musk. For now, that is.
For now. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
New episodes post every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can contact us on Twitter at MultiformPod or by email at questions@multiformpodcast.com. If you enjoyed our show and you're feeling extra generous, please share it with your friends or on social media. You can subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen.